Well, lots of things have happened over this past week. I've got a lot to share with you, starting with the fact that hashtag boycott New York is trending on Twitter. Actually, I have been boycotting New York ever since the COVID years, even a little bit before that. But this city and the people that are in charge of this city are really what is part of the reasons our country is being destroyed. Now, as you know, over this past week, Donald Trump was charged with a $355 million fraudulent business practice suit in which they claim, well, because he was just doing regular stuff in real estate, now they're going to decide that he has to pay that much. I really hope that the appeal court takes care of that, because this is completely outright insanity. So much so that it has sparked outrage among the truckers, thereby causing the hashtag boycott New York to trend on Twitter. So a lot of our truckers, or at least the rumor is that a lot of our truckers are saying, you know what? Screw this. If you're going to be able to do that to Donald J. Trump, and not just Trump, because mind you, I'm going to show you a clip in a little bit that says if you can do that to him, you can do this to anyone that you don't like in the city. Therefore, we're not driving to the city. We're not going to do it. We're not going there. We're done. We're out. And the city is now reportedly being boycotted by the truckers. And I believe this is something that the city should pay attention to. Let's take a look. Just another one of their weaponized justices going against a former president of the United States. Here we have NPR.org. Trump ordered to pay over $355 million for fraudulent business practices in New York. It states a New York judge has ordered Donald J. Trump and executives at the Trump Organization to pay over $364 million in a civil fraud case, handing a win to New York Attorney General Lolita James, who sued Trump and his associates after a 3-year investigation. The Friday decision from Judge Arthur orders Trump and his flagship organization to pay the bulk of that amount, almost $355 million. And you can see kind of a little bit how that breaks down. So leftist radical judges and the AG there is like, yeah, we're just going to stick it to Donald J. Trump and pretend this is rare and unusual. The problem is, if they can do this to Trump, they can do this to anyone in the city. And as a result, well, there's a lot of businesses now really freaking out. Why? Because all they did was a regular real estate deal. And then this is what happens to Donald Trump. Now, I got to tell you, I'm about to play a clip for you. You're really going to want to hear on why this is such an issue. But before I do, just a quick break from my sponsor. Now, we have been told our entire lives that wrinkle creams are the way to look younger. But now one doctor says that that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. Well, recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? Well, so that he can focus directly on anti-aging revolutionary breakthroughs. Now, his clients have dubbed this do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method, because it can take years and even decades off of your appearance in 2 minutes' time. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public where he outlines exactly how to use simple solutions from home. Now, if you want to check it out, all you have to do is go to bhmd1.com/haven. That's bhmd1.com/haven to watch that video. And if you want more information, you can click in the description box below. There's a link down there. Or if you're on your cell phone, click that more button to get more information, but you're not going to want to miss it out, as this product has been life-changing for me personally. All right, back to the broadcast. So let's dive into what Hochul had to say about this entire ordeal when, other real estate people are like freaking the hell out. Hochul tells New York businesses not to fear about Trump verdict, nothing to worry about. It goes on. Hochul joined John on the Cats Roundtable on WABC 770 AM, where she was asked if other New York business people should be worried that if they can do that to the former president, president, that they can do that to anybody. Absolutely true. It goes on. I think that this is really an extraordinary, unusual circumstance that the law-abiding and rule-following New Yorkers who are business people have nothing to worry about because they're very different than Donald Trump and his behavior, Hochul responded. In other words, if you don't behave like Donald J. Trump and follow his practices and, you're not a MAGA supporter, you're fine. Oh, well, in a roundabout way, she kind of said it in her out loud voice. But it's different and very unusual. There was nothing at all unusual about what Donald Trump has done. In fact, take a listen to this clip. It's about a minute and a half almost. And he really gets down in the details. It was actually on CNN, but he really gets down into the details as to why this complete ruling is a sham. Take a listen.
If you're a developer and you've got a building on a block anywhere in America and it's worth, let's say, $500 million, and you want to build a building right beside it, you go to the bank and say, this building is worth $500 million. I'd like to borrow a construction finance loan against this asset, and I want you to tell me it's worth $500 million too. And the bank negotiates with you and says, well, no, we think it's worth $400 million, and you fight it out. You're always trying to show your assets in the brightest light with the sunshine you could possibly determine for them. You want them to be worth the very most because you're only going to get a 40 or 50% loan to value, as it's called. Then you borrow that money. In the case of a $500 million asset, maybe you get $250 million, and you build a new building with a construction finance loan. And so that's what this case is all about. And by the way, forget about Trump. Every single real estate developer everywhere on earth does this. They always talk about their asset being worth a lot, and the bank says no. And that's just the way it is. So in this case, when I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not pro or con, or I don't care about the politics, who lost money? Nobody. The bank got paid back the construction finance loan, and a new building was built. And if you're going to sue this case and win, you got to sue every real estate developer everywhere. This is all they do.
That's exactly right. No one lost money. Donald Trump's banks got paid. Everybody did their part. Nobody is suing in that. No. Just the crooked leftist judges and the AG and the state. This is as crooked as it gets. And as he said there, I believe that was Kevin O'Leary. He said very clearly, look, this is absolutely happens in every real estate business deal. Pretty much all of it. All of it, in fact. So, yeah, if you're there in the state, New York, you own a business, maybe you bought a building, you should be really freaking worried. It doesn't stop with Donald J. Trump. They're going to go after his supporters next, especially if this thing better freaking be appealed. And I absolutely, hopefully, hope it does. Meanwhile, this has really ignited the truckers, and they are taking their own steps. Take a look here, and this is on foxnews.com. Truckers for Trump to boycott driving to New York City after the $355 million fraud ruling. Now, the article goes on to state that a group of truck drivers who support former President Trump have announced that they will not be driving to New York City as means of expressing their disappointment with the civil fraud judgment that fined Trump more than $350 million last week. This all comes in response to Trump being barred from operating his business in New York for 3 years and being found liable for more than $350 million in damages in civil fraud case brought against him, his family, and the Trump Organization by New York attorney General Lolita James. New York judge handed down his ruling on Friday after months-long trial that began in October and stemmed from James's lawsuit that accused the former president of, inflating his assets and committing fraud. By the way, this entire thing is just to say you can't do business anymore in the state of New York. It's a huge blow to Donald J. Trump. And you know what's going to happen? And I'm going to come back to this article and get into some of the truckers, but I want to make this very clear. What's going to happen is Donald Trump say, okay, I got to sell my businesses there. I can't do business there, so I got to sell it. Well, nobody's going to buy the businesses. Why? Because if you're on his side and you're a Trump supporter, you buy his business, you're going to get hassled by all the freaking leftists and everybody in there. It's a very liberal city, right? And if you're on the left, you're just not going to do it. Why? What's going to happen then? Well, Trump could very well end up losing all of his assets and having those assets be confiscated by the state, which is what they want, for the ruling. And to say that his asset is only worth 500 million or 20 million, I think is what they said, is such BS. The places there around Mar-a-Lago are going for far more than that. You couldn't even buy a parking lot for 20 million. This is how stupid the entire case is. And if America only knew that and didn't listen to some of the mainstream media, it'd be so much more intense. But anyway, he could eventually be forced to have all his businesses confiscated by the state. That's the idea, right? They want him broke, they want him out, and they want to do everything against him. But it goes on to talk about the group of truckers. And here it is. It says, I'm just one of the many millions of truckers who believe in God and love this country. A trucker known as Chicago Ray wrote on X, formerly Twitter, I stand with Trump because Trump stands with me. Truckers for Trump ain't just a slogan. It's real, he wrote. Now, he took to X on February 16th when the ruling came down. And here's what he said. I've been on the radio talking to drivers for about the past hour, and I've talked to about 10 drivers, he wrote. I don't know how far across the country this is or how many truckers are going to start denying loads going to New York City, but I'll tell you what, you're effing around if you F around and find out. I don't know how far across the country this is or how many truckers are going to start denying loads going to New York City, but I'll tell you what, you F around and find out, he said. And here is the actual, here's what he actually posted on Twitter, and that was his post there. However, right, since that posting, he has since taken the entire thing down, right? And here it is. You could see that the page doesn't exist anymore. So something strange happened. Shortly thereafter, the post, it got removed. The good news is he has come back to Twitter and stated why that happened. I'm going to air that in just a moment. But before I do, I just want to say that, you know, this man came out and he's just frustrated with the system and frustrated what's going on. He's one of many people who are. And he says, all right, we're not going to deliver anymore to New York City. We're not going to do it. We're just not. And I'm not going to. And I know that there's other truckers that are going to join in. And whether or not you want to join it, well, that's up to you. Now, I think the reason that it was removed, well, he says why it's removed, but let me just play his clip of why he says it's removed, because I want you guys to hear what he says here. But here's what he says. This was him on his the same X page. And here's what he had to say. Just take a listen.
I just want to let you know, look, I took down that video that I posted on Friday because it went viral, went on TikTok. Not because I don't stand by what I said, because I do, but, you know, my grandson seen it and, you know, he got a little hurt by it and it hurt my feelings, so, you know, what the fuck. You know, that's it. It is what it is. I'm not no, look, I'm not no figurehead here. I'm not no leader of any movement. Not going on any podcasts or, you know, doing any GoFundMes or anything like that. You know, I'm who I am. All right? I hear chatter. I let you guys know what I heard. And, you know, that's what it is. I'm hearing it now. You know, some people are seriously thinking of, you know, not going to New York City. Okay. You know, I'm not gonna encourage it. But if New York City gonna have judges ruling like they're ruling and running a town like they're running, then, you know, hey, that's freedom every truck driver in this country. Everybody has in this country.
All right. So I'm just going to stop it right there. And he goes on to expand in that he's not afraid. He's not scared. It has nothing to do with that. He grew up in Chicago, all that kind of stuff. But I think he really hints at why in the beginning of the video. And he said his son, I'm sure that has something to do with it. But personally, my opinion, okay, is, well, he makes a statement that he doesn't want to be the leader. He doesn't want to be known as the leader because there's a lot of pressure that comes with being a leader, and maybe he doesn't want to deal with that pressure. And that's personally what I think. And he's like, hey, I just wanted to put it out there and let people know the chatter and kind of, you know, I'm going to be a part of it, but he doesn't want to lead it. And I think that's really what it stems from. He claims there's no fear in that. But to be honest, I think anybody in that situation, it is kind of fearful. I mean, it's fearful doing my job, what I do every day, and having to be on the front lines to say, hey, I'm going to bring you the truth. I'm going to tell you what's going on. And especially if you're going to be on the top of the list, for a political movement, comes with a lot of pressure. Just look what happened to the truckers in Canada, where Justin Trudeau came out and started freezing all their bank accounts. This is BS. I mean, one of the most tyrannical things I have seen when that went on in Canada. So my heart goes out to those Canadians who did suffer that. But anyway, and I think there is a lot of pressure. But he has his statement, and according to him, he's not afraid, and he dropped because of his son. And then, of course, he mentioned, not wanting to be the leader of the movement. But anyway, he sounds like an amazing guy, and I'm glad, at least, that he got out there and said what he wanted to say and did what he wanted to do and really expressed his concerns, because I think we should all be free to do that, and we should all be free to say those things. But as you can see, it was trending on Twitter. You could see there on the bottom. And what I really want to hone in on is this, because the city of New York really needs to pay attention, because if this boycott does happen, and who knows, it could be 10 trucks, could be 100, it could be little to none, who knows what it will ever turn out to be. But this is important because here's the kind of stuff that happens if truckers were to stop. They are the heart and soul of our country. My brother is a truck driver, by the way, so I love them. Without them, we would be screwed as a nation and a country. We wouldn't be getting our supplies, our food, any of it. But you can see within 24 hours, here's some of the things that cease to have supplies: hospitals, services, deliveries, manufacturers, automotive. In about 2 to 3 days, you're going to see losses of food, ATM, services, garbage containers. 1 week, we're talking hospital supplies. The oxygen supplies will be exhausted. The nation's clean water supply will begin to dry up within the 2nd week. And then, of course, the 4th week, the nation will exhaust its clean and water supply. Illness, of course, could start increasing and further taxing on already weakened healthcare system. So you can see they are the heart and soul of our country. And if you're a truck driver, I want to say a great big thank you to you and who you are, because you are a very important part and a critical part of our country. So Governor Hochul better pay the freaking attention to all of this, because her city could be in some trouble. But nobody knows exactly how big or small it is. But anyway, I love you guys. Wanted to bring all of this to your attention. Please continue to pray for Donald Trump. Hope that hope that 500 and the freaking however much it was, I'm blanking, $355 million suit just gets totally obliterated. Because if not, we're all in trouble for any real estate deal you've ever done in business. Anyhow, I love you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.